On March 5, 1973, in the town of Ossinek, Michigan, a funeral was held. There were flowers. There were speeches. There was an 18-foot grave. The governor of Michigan personally attended. The deceased, 29,188 frozen pizzas. Every word of that is true. This is the story of the Great Pizza Funeral. This is Oops History, true stories that sound fake. Today, the day Michigan buried 29,000 pizzas with full honors. Let's set the scene. Ossinek, Michigan, a small town on Lake Huron, the kind of place where nothing is supposed to happen twice. A man named Mario Fabbrini runs a frozen pizza company there. Business is steady. The pizzas are cheese and mushroom. Remember the mushrooms. The mushrooms are the villain of this story. Sort of. We'll get there. In 1973, America was in the grip of a national canned mushroom botulism scare. Botulism is one of the deadliest toxins known to science, and inspectors were pulling suspect mushroom cans off shelves across the country. If your product contained canned mushrooms in 1973, you were having a very bad year. Mario Fabbrini's product contained canned mushrooms. The FDA traced suspect mushrooms to the supply used on Fabbrini's pizzas. Possible contamination, which meant every single pizza had to go. The recall went out. 29,188 frozen cheese and mushroom pizzas, condemned. Stores boxed them up and shipped them back. Trucks full of rejected pizzas rolled home to Ossinek like the world's saddest parade. For a small family business, this was an extinction-level event. The losses would eventually be put at around $250,000. In 1973, money. Now. Most businessmen facing ruin quietly dump the product in a landfill and issue a sad press release. Mario Fabbrini was not most businessmen. Fabbrini decided that if his pizzas were going to die, they were going to die with dignity. He announced a funeral, a public one, for the pizzas. A date was set. Invitations went out. Somehow, people said yes. On the day, the condemned pizzas were hauled out and lowered, dumped, into an 18-foot pit in the ground. Flowers were laid on the grave. Gladioli, to be specific. You cannot bury 29,000 pizzas without gladioli. That would be tacky. And then Michigan Governor William Milliken, the actual sitting governor of the state, showed up and spoke over the grave. As far as anyone can tell, it remains the only state-attended pizza funeral in human history. Democracy is a rich tapestry. Reporters came, cameras rolled, speeches were given over the pit. Somewhere, a marketing textbook quietly began writing itself. According to accounts, Fabbrini then served the mourners fresh pizza. At the funeral, for his pizzas, the man understood marketing on a level science has yet to explain. But here's the twist. The suspect pizzas were fed to mice, and the mice were fine. They did not die. Later testing suggested Fabbrini's batch was probably never contaminated at all, which means Michigan held a state funeral, with a governor and flowers, for 29,000 innocent pizzas. Fabbrini's own verdict was blunt. The government, he said, buried him. He sued his mushroom suppliers, and years later he won some compensation. But the business never recovered. The scare wrecked it, guilty mushrooms or not. Somewhere in Ossinek, the pizzas rest still. No monument marks the spot. The gladioli, presumably, have moved on. There is no tidy moral here. Fabbrini did the responsible thing. He cooperated with the recall and protected his customers, and he still lost nearly everything. The least history can do is remember the funeral. Time for the damage report. Pizzas buried, 29,188. Grave depth, 18 feet. Sitting governors in attendance, 1. Mice harmed by the evidence, 0. Botulism actually found in the pizzas, none that testing could confirm. Money lost, roughly $250,000. Dignity of the pizzas, fully intact. So if your business ever collapses, remember, You can't always save the company, but you can always throw it a better funeral than the competition. Subscribe. There is unfortunately plenty more where this came from.